Aloha, everyone, and thanks for being here for this podcast episode of Finding Focus. I wanted to jump on here today and talk a little bit about what's going on in my world because generally, if there is something that's being a message that's being given to me, it's also a message that I need to impart to others because there is some synchronicity there that others need to hear this as well. So I thought I'd share a little bit about what's been going on in my world. And for those of you that resonate with this, hopefully you'll be able to walk away with some wisdom that you can take to heart as well. So for me, these past 2 weeks have been kind of I want to say a slow period or a calming period. It's because I really haven't felt that I've been able to get anything much done or much accomplished. It's not to say that I've done nothing, but things that I have been wanting to do, particularly record a new podcast, I haven't been able to get it done. And I it's been kind of stumping me to try to figure out what is the holdup here because I have topics written out that I want to share with you. And I even have some guests lined up. That was something I did get accomplished, was getting some guests lined up that will be on in future episodes here. And but the hard part was I couldn't settle on the exact right message that I wanted to share in an episode here. And it's always boggled me when something like this happens because it doesn't happen very often. I usually work in flow and information comes to me very quickly and it just comes out and I share it and the information is there and the creativity is there and just the right messaging always seems to happen. But what's been kind of interesting these past 2 weeks is that, yeah, I might hit on a little topic and it's like, talk about that. But then when I sit down in front of the computer here and try to record it, it's like the words just don't want to come out exactly right. And so I've been sitting with that here. Again, this has been going on for about 2 weeks now. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Well, I think I figured it out. So that's why I hopped on here and wanted to share this message because I feel that there's probably some of you who are going through something similar as well. And what's happening is that maybe it isn't that we are supposed to be doing, but we are just supposed to be being, not necessarily doing. We just kind of get it in our minds that we always have to be doing something. And I think part of this whole journey in our lives is to sometimes just stop doing and just allow ourselves to settle. And the reason I'm realizing that that is the message for me over these past several days is because I haven't been paying attention to that message and I've just been trying to force things to happen or force some creativity along. Well, the universe is saying, not so fast. I don't know if any of you have had those kinds of signs or signals that the universe is just saying, not so fast, just stop. Whatever it is that you're doing. It could be something good, but they don't get, maybe it's just not working out quite the way you want it to happen. So maybe the message is pause. Okay. And that's okay. It's okay to allow ourselves to just be. And I got this message loud and clear from the universe because I had a day lined up. Was it earlier this week or last week? When I had just several things lined up that was supposed to happen, a Zoom meeting first thing in the morning, and then another client call, and just some other things that were supposed to happen. And oh yeah, and when a trip to the another appointment that took me out of the office too. So it was a number of different things, all good, nothing too rushed. But that morning, what had happened was I broke a crown, one of my teeth. And so I had to call the dentist. Unfortunately, they could get me in to remove what was left of the crown and cast a temporary and then put the temporary in. What happens with all of that, though, is for those of you who've had to have a crown put in or even a replacement done, is that the dentist has to numb the side of your mouth, the side of your face. And so for me, that was, the whole side of my mouth got numb. I don't have a fear of dentists. I really don't. I think it's wonderful that we have the technology to be able to take care of things that need to be taken care of. And so, I went in, but then my mouth was numb, and I was able to get back and then jumped into some of these rescheduled meetings or that I'd had to delay. And fortunately, though, it was just a one-on-one kind of a Zoom meeting that I had to have where I didn't have to be in front of a whole bunch of people because my mouth and side of my face felt so numb that I actually wasn't speaking very clearly, I felt anyway. And it felt like I was just talking out of one side of my mouth, which I think I was because I was still numbed up. Anyway, that was a slowing down period for that morning and that day. And so I just kind of had to settle with that and realize that, maybe I am just supposed to slow down and do a little self care here. And so during that week, I also made an appointment to get a massage. I made an appointment to visit my chiropractor. My chiropractor loves me because I golf and I tend to put things out of joint, get things out of whack, and he takes care of me. So thank you, Dr. Robert. And I use that time for some self-care, but I use that time also to connect with people that I hadn't talked to in a long time. I made some phone calls. I decided it was time, if I needed to be still for a little bit, just to reach out. So if you are finding yourself in what I want to say, a stucky period, a calming period, I guess, a forced calm, then look for the gift in that and think, okay, maybe there's something else you're supposed to be doing. If things are not churning along the way that you are hoping that they should be, or they're just not flowing, then maybe there's a reason for that. And what is the gift in that? So for me, it was taking some time for self-care. It was time to reconnect with people that I hadn't connected with, some of them in over a year. And the discussions were just lovely with those people. And it was just absolutely awesome to be able to reconnect. The other things, I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to get back into business, and other things, I thought, well, just start moving along on some of these other little projects that I wanted to do. But the universe was saying, not so fast. Okay. And I woke up one morning not so long ago, just a few days ago. And I thought, why do I feel so sluggish? And I don't know if any of you had this happen to you too, just a few days ago. Just woke up feeling very sluggish, and I had this really heavy feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I just felt like the day I was just kind of slogging through quicksand. And that's a really unusual feeling for me to have. And the pit, the feeling in the pit of my stomach was just kind of unsettling to me because I don't usually have that feeling, or I can't even remember the last time I had that kind of a feeling. And I am a sensitive, and I do sense energy and feel energy. And I thought, where is this coming from? What is this about? But the first thought is, what's wrong with me? Am I getting sick? Is something happening? Am I sensing? Now, I really don't ever sense impending doom or danger. I tend to live in the state of excited anticipation. And so life generally just provides me with, wonderful surprises along the way. But I just had this really heavy feeling, and that lasted about 2 days. And the second day, something came across my Facebook feed that said, if you've been feeling heavy, feeling a denseness, not feeling quite right, feeling like something is off, then it's not necessarily you. It could be because of the fact that whatever planet it was just went into retrograde. And so these past 48 hours have probably been feeling very off for you. And I thought, oh my gosh, so that's what it is. So it wasn't the fact that a planet went into retrograde. It was also that there was this different planetary shift that was happening. And then there was also a bunch of solar flares, I suppose, that I'd heard. that were happening as well. So all of these things, now, whether you believe in this or not, it's something that I tend to pay attention to because I know that when these types of energies shift, it does tend to affect my mood and the things and my energy and the things that are happening around me. Um, so it was just learning the explanation behind all of that. And I even called a friend and asked her, "Are you feeling kind of heavy and just kind of out of sorts?" And she goes, "Oh my gosh, yes." She goes, "It was so bad for me that I could barely even get out of bed." So the two of us were kind of commiserating over that. And then, but even just the fact that we acknowledged it and started talking about it, I could feel my mood and my energy starting to lift and shift. So sometimes when you have things in your life that are not going quite right, acknowledge it, recognize it, and then maybe start doing a little bit of a deeper dive as to what's beneath it so that you can uncover what's really going on here. Because a lot of times, what we think is going on the surface is not really what's happening at all. There is usually something deeper there, not something necessarily dark or awful, but there is just something that causes us to pause and to question. And that is something that I encourage all of you to take a look at when you have what I call these moments that are forced pauses, forced downtime for you. Look at it as a gift, as a way to get curious about what's going on in your life. Okay. Um, so as if the dental episode wasn't enough, and the astrological or the changing of whatever was going on with the planets wasn't enough to slow me down. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention, because then what happened was my temporary crown broke again, and I had to shift schedule to make time to run into the dentist again to get that taken care of. And another strange thing that just happened to me yesterday was that I started feeling a twinge in my shoulder. And I thought, gosh, what's happening here with my shoulder? I haven't had this kind of a pain before. And I thought, what's causing this? And it got so bad last night that I couldn't even sleep on my left side. And I had to sleep flat on my back, which I did, but it was very difficult to move. And even now, my left arm, it's difficult to move up over my shoulder. And so I went and was able to get an appointment with my doctor, my chiropractor, who I tend to go see first because he treats me so well and knows my body so well. And he said, "Yeah, you've got some muscles here that are a little angry." And so he did some adjustments and did some work on my shoulder. But I just realized that somehow the universe is telling me that, again, it's time to slow down and take care of your body. You need to do this. So, again, if maybe you are experiencing anything like this in your life, maybe it's a time, instead of just trying to push through, push through, push through on things, it's time to step back and just settle for a little bit. Just be. We don't, again, always need to keep doing. Just allow yourself to be. And the flow will pick back up again, but maybe it's time just to slow the flow of what is going on in your life. Now, I don't want to say the crazy thing, but again, another one of the wonderful messages that I received around all of this to kind of confirm that, yeah, you know what, you finally got it, that you are supposed to slow down. This is just a period that you are supposed to slow down, reflect, pause, um, look around at what's going on, maybe reassess. And I again encourage all of you, if you've come across a roadblock or a rejection or a redirection, that's all that this is. It's maybe a chance just to stop, catch your breath, and look around. Maybe again, look at the big picture, get curious, and get inside yourself and reassess the situation. Look at it, things from a different angle. So one of the things that I also did is when I just need additional bit of guidance, I also pull cards from what I have. I have an oracle deck that is just some juicy pieces of wisdom, And the card that I happened to pull today was called The Sacred Waters. And underneath the Sacred Waters title were these subtitles called Nourishment, Replenishment, Health, Rest, Self-Care. And so the whole message around that, I loved it because it said, you're being called to nourish and replenish yourself before you become brittle and parched. So again, this message probably is not just for me, it's probably for those of you who need to hear it as well. So listen up. The Mother of the Sacred Waters wants you to know that there's nothing more important in your life than the care of your own sacred vessel of a body. And the earth is an extension of that. She wants you to treat yourself with tender care, to cherish your body and hers, to fill your well until it spills over, and once it does, to find a way to give back from the place of plenty, to give your body what it's yearning for most before it turns into an urgent need. So for those of you who needed to hear that, okay, we got our message, right? So again, just a quick note here for those of you who might just be churning along and then, maybe you've just hit this pause button that you didn't hit, but the universe hit for you and is saying, okay, it's time to step back for a minute. Just be. And it's okay to just be. Be with yourself, be with your thoughts, be with your heart, and listen to what's there. Look for whatever messages are maybe needing to come to you or needing to come out. Look for the light that needs to shine upon whatever it is that you need to hear or need to see or need to act on. Be kind to yourself and take this pause as a good thing, as a time for refreshment and to re-energize. And hey, we'll talk to you all on the next episode. Hugs and aloha.